12 years old. Moved to shitty town in Midwest. First day at new school. Get introduced to new class. Notice this one kid. Greasy little tard named Tommy. About 4 feet tall. Glasses and bulging eyes. Seemed pretty harmless. First recess. Making some friends. Tommy approaches me. Walks really slowly. Hulking almost. Would only breathe through his snot-filled nose. Snot bubble expands from his nose when he breathes out. Doesn't seem to mind. My face when Tommy asked me to tie his shoes. Sure, buddy. I'm almost done tying his shoes. Tommy punches me in the back of the head. Topple over and hit my head on concrete floor. Concussion.mp4. Have to go to hospital. My face when Tommy does that to all the new kids. Teachers tell me they'll handle it. He gets off scot-free. Ask friends about it. My face when he goes to the gym every day and benches 200 pounds. All due to his unhealthy obsession with the Hulk. Tommy wanted to be the Hulk. Looking soft, though. One day, new kid came to the class. Jimmy. Tommy penguins his way to Jimmy during recess. Asks him to tie his shoes. Does the same fucking punch thing. No one intervenes. Jimmy gets pissed. Shoves Tommy. Tommy is furious. Tommy stares at him with those beady eyes. Tommy starts breathing heavily. Through his nose. More and more heavily. Snot bubble explodes. Snot flies everywhere. Some of it lands on Jimmy. Tommy is still breathing aggressively, blowing more and more snot through his nose, dripping down his lips and shirt at this point. Jimmy gets weirded out. My face when it's almost like a defense mechanism. Tommy concentrates on his hands super hard. Starts twitching. Starts roaring. My face when he's trying to turn into the Hulk. Snot forming on a puddle on the floor around this point. My face when he starts swinging his arms around. They're rotating like the blades of a fucking helicopter. Tommy's still roaring and blowing snot. Jimmy backs off slowly. Everyone's watching at this point. My face when Tommy starts walking closer and closer to Jimmy. No teachers around. Kids are starting to yell at Tommy to stop it by now. Too late.jpg. Tommy corners Jimmy. Gets close enough. Tommy's 100-pound arms start to collide with Jimmy. My face when Jimmy crawls into the fetal position. Tommy's still rotating and roaring and blowing snot. My face when a considerable portion of Tommy has turned green from his snot. Tommy's landing punches on the back of Jimmy's head. That face when you realize that the tard has beat him unconscious. Now some of the kids go to get the handler that's been assigned to Jimmy. Ex-Marine, seriously.jpg. My face when he carries Tommy away over his shoulder. Not even looking at the pulp that Jimmy has become. Tommy has broken Jimmy's nose and the bone of his forehead. He broke Jimmy's forehead bone. My face when Jimmy has to stay in the hospital. Ask friends if Tommy has done this before. Twice, but not to this extent. He's getting stronger and more dangerous. Teachers decide to send a tutor to his house for the next 3 months. Jimmy comes back after 2 weeks. He has a cavity in his forehead and a nose like fucking Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Jimmy is suffering from PTSD. He's become sort of an outcast, even in his own family. Nobody talks to Jimmy. He freaks out when there's loud noises. One day, Tommy is back in the classroom. At recess, he approaches Jimmy.
I apologize, Jimmy.
Apology accepted.jpg. My face when Jimmy and Tommy become best friends. Jimmy is like Tommy's gimp. Follows him around with a headband to cover the cavity in his forehead. Tommy decides to expand their tard gang. He decides to use the tactic of beating children into submission, since it worked so well last time. He starts approaching random kids during recess, mostly smaller kids. Beats them into a pulped mess. My face when he beats 3 kids in one day. Tommy gets homeschooled for the rest of the year. All the kids are traumatized. Jimmy is devastated. Tommy's back the next year, though. gained some serious mass, more powerful than ever. Has started drilling the recruits that he prepared last year. My face when he has a gang of traumatized kids following him around. No one seems to care. One day he approaches me. He's come to finish the job. Not today, .jpg. My face when I get chased by Tommy and his gang for about 100 yards. Tommy doesn't do cardio. Tommy and his gang continue to pursue their goal of beating me. Anytime I'm alone, they try to corner me. Seriously starting to consider if this is just some weird sexual fetish. He never succeeds, though. Coming to school one day, my face when Tommy is beating one of my friends to a bloody pulp. Fuck.jpg. He's trying to get to me. My friend doesn't join Tommy's gang, but he's pretty traumatized. Tommy is very caring of his gang of misfits. He'll freak right the fuck out when he feels his pack is threatened. I decide to get back at him one day by provoking Timmy. In our classroom, there's a loudspeaker. Place it between the headphones of my sister's Walkman. This gon' be good.jpg. Turn on Gimme More by Britney Spears. Sounds totally garbled through the loudspeakers, but you can barely make out, "It's Britney, bitch." Jimmy freaks out nonetheless. He's lying on the floor, crying and pissing himself. Everyone freaks out. So does Tommy. Tommy starts using his helicopter arms, blowing snot and screaming. Not directed at anyone in particular. It's a defense mechanism. Success.jpg. Escape the classroom. A couple of weeks later, Tommy now knows it was me who was behind the Britney incident. He despises it. He's seeking to avenge his piss-soaked brother in arms. He started masturbating by now, using cum as some sort of chemical agent. My face when he turns up outside my house, throwing cum-soaked tissues at my window. He is so overcome with rage that he can't properly form sentences, just screaming, "Asshole!" repeatedly. Haha.jpg. He eventually collects his tissues and fucks off. We're not out of the woods yet, though. In classroom one day, teacher leaves. Feels someone grab my arms from behind. Tommy.jpg. Throws my chair on the ground with me still on it. My arm gets caught between the chair and the ground. It breaks. Oh shit. It's happening.jpg. My face when it's not Tommy who's doing it. It's my friend who was beat by Tommy earlier. He's turned. Starts screaming because broken arm. Tommy comes over and stomps me in the ear, all while doing his helicopter arms and blowing snot. My face when I get snot in my face. Feels like getting jizzed in the face. My face when teacher comes in just before any significant damage is done to me. Goes to get Tommy's handler. Handler comes rushing in. Just as he gets carried away, Tommy reaches down to grab me by my jeans. My face when he totally misses and accidentally slips his hand down the back of my pants. My face when he manages to touch my supple butthole. Have my arm in a cast for 2 months after this. Still pretty scared. Maybe he'll back off now? Nope.jpg. My face when Tommy shows up on the street where I live, with Tard gang and all. I'm on my bike, so I just take off. Tommy starts running after me. Tommy is like a rabid dog, foaming at the mouth, leaving a trail of snot behind him, swinging his helicopter arms. My face when Tommy faceplants behind me. His tards stop and bend over their leader. Hear Tommy's shriek of agony. My face when he got road rash on his face. Jizz in my pants.jpg. Now his face looks even more like shit. His nose resembles a turd, with a bubble of snot constantly expanding and shrinking through it. Flow of the universe.jpg. He's really pissed off. Keeps showing up at my house. My dad has to chase him off with a fire extinguisher at one point. I'm walking home from school one day. My face when I spot Tommy and his gang of tards running full speed after me. Helicopter arms.jpg. I take off. They're catching up to me. Jump into someone's garden. Climb up tree. Tards gather around tree. Tommy starts climbing up the tree. Oh shit.jpg. My face when I kick Tommy in the face. Tommy falls off tree. Broken spine.jpg. Little Shih Tzu spots other tards and freaks out. Tards freak out and escape. Tommy is lying on the ground. Crying.mp4. Climb down tree, go home. My face when Tommy is bound to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He'd still try to do his helicopter arms, but he was pretty much harmless.